I know you're up there, and I just want to thank you for the best BBC mini break ever. And I promise to be really kind to Clive from now on. We are very frugal on this programme, you know. Rather like a good French cook, we don't waste anything. You see, many producers shoot so much film it just rots, and it's only fit to use as manure in the BBC garden. We, on the other hand, recycle it direct onto the screen. So that's why you see this plate of cakes again, and also in a moment the shot of the choucroute, which I know you enjoyed a few weeks previously. But it doesn't matter, because I'm going to give you a wonderful musical break now. A brilliant piece of music written especially for me by my mates, the Stranglers. Take it away, boys. If you were lucky enough to live on this fat, slow river here in the Pays Basque, you could while away the evenings in the late dusk, gliding along in a little rowboat, fishing for elvers and communing with nature. Or, on second thoughts, you could pop into Pablo's and pay about £6 a shot for a dish of hot ones, boiled in oil and chilies. And after a busy evening, it's on to bed. It's on to Burgundy, home of some of the world's finest wines, Nuit Saint-Georges, Chambertin and Al, and of course, the birthplace of my famous board game, Vinopoly. You remember, you throw a 6 and get a glass. And here, on the corner of this wonderful little village, Maurice Saint-Denis, another superb wine-producing area, we have a little sequence from the last of the summer wine, in which Nora Batty entreats Compo and Clegg to stop drinking and come home.
Ah, fermez la bouche.
And then there's Brittany, a place where they've really got their act together. I hope you're enjoying this little culinary cameo of France. There'll be a cooking sketch coming up in a minute, but look at this brilliant soup de poisson and this delight of delights, a superb fruit de mer. Now Clive's last, desperate attempt to gain the recognition he so richly deserves for his supreme photography. I love the Dordogne and the gentle art of aqua picnicking, so cruelly wrecked by pasties-crazed aquanauts, get it? Who did everything they could to trawl up my bottle of inspiration. The perch were good too, stuffed with fresh herbs and grilled on a wood fire. What a breakfast that was. But one of the best moments was these geese trooping the colour. Just after Christmas, the ritual of preserving geese takes place for the classic confit d'oie. Teams of chefs with razor-sharp knives dissect the carcasses, the wings, the breast, the legs. Every piece is used and cooked gently in its own fat, allowed to cool and covered with goose grease to be eaten and enjoyed throughout the year. Nothing is wasted. With surgeon-like precision, every morsel is stripped from the bones, which in turn are used to make stock for soups and sauces. But the vital bit is the liver, where the money and one of the great delicacies of France for the gourmet lie, but also the subject of bitter controversy amongst those who say the feeding process is barbaric and cruel. The whole joints of confit are best, but the little pieces are fine in soups and vegetable dishes. The fat, too, is used for cooking almost everything, but it's the liver patty that reigns supreme, if you don't worry where it comes from, of course. love England, I love France, but my heart is really nailed to the pavement outside of a bar in Provence. Provence with her azure skies and heady aroma of herbs, with her pagan hedonism, which first inspired me to cook. And cooking things that are the essence of Provence. A chicken roasted with garlic, a bass flamed over fennel, flavours that excite your tummy and thrill your heart, especially with lifelong friends and rosé chilled in the icy waters of the River Sorgue. Enough of me. So may I introduce you to the dish you've known for all these years? The one and only Billy Shears? We needed to find some original and simple, old-fashioned Provençal food, and that's very difficult to find these days because fast food is on the move. There's even a McDonald's in Avignon now, which is rotten, isn't it? Anyway, we asked around a bit, and eventually somebody said, you must go and see André. He is the guy who's passionate about the Provençal fashion of life and about Provençal food. So we rolled up and said, sorry to interrupt your busy day, any chance of filming what you cook? He said, well, look, I'm very, very busy. If you come back in a couple of days, I'll lay something on for you. Well, we came back, and it's amazing. It's an incredible display of food. The mayor's here, the town band is here, radio reporters are here, newspapers reporters are here, all because they love food and the Provençal language. I don't speak the Provençal language, and I know that some of these dishes are very complicated to explain. So, André, il faut que je demande un peu ce qu'il y a ici. Ça, par exemple, c'est quoi?
Ça, c'est le crespeo.
Crespeo.
Oui. Alors, c'est plusieurs omelettes avec la tapenade, la brandade. Alors, tapenade, brandade, le persil et la tomate.
That's a five-layered omelette, and each very thin omelette has been either flavoured with salt cod, with olives, tomatoes, or parsley, all things very important to this region. And then, as you saw, layered as a cake. Here, Clive, if you can follow me around a bit, we've got some tapenade. Now, that I do know. That is a mash of olives, anchovies, and olive oil, and you either eat it with bits of celery like that, or you put it on bits of bread. It's quite delicious. Over to your left a bit, camera, I think, we've got this marvellous thing, which is the salt cod, brandade de morue, which is salt cod which has been soaked and boiled till it's cooked, taken off the bone, and whisked up with olive oil till it becomes this lovely creamy mixture. Something they often eat in Provence. Hello, Clive, you still there? Sorry. Yes. Sometimes they eat this for their Christmas Eve supper in Provence, for religious reasons, also because it's supposed to be not very fattening. Actually, they have a festival out of it. That's a little bit of folklore. Here, quite amazing, pleased to see, these are caillettes.
Caillette, oui.
Et ça se fait de comment?
Alors, la caillette est à base du foie de porc, de la poitrine, de la gorge, et puis la salade frisée, avec la crépinette, et il ne faut surtout pas oublier la sauge, vous voyez, la sauge,
oui.
Et l'huile d'olive.
Absolutely
Et cuit au four.
Those are the Provençal faggots, you know, the intestines of the pig, the liver, the heart, and all of that kind of stuff, wrapped up in the caul, crépinette, and then baked in the oven with olive oil and sage. Absolutely fabulous. But this is something, in all my experience of Provence, I have never seen. C'est quoi, ça?
Ça, c'est la jambonnette. C'est le jambon qu'on a entièrement désossé et remis la viande dedans, fait sécher un peu et après on le fait cuire. Vous pouvez couper.
Je peux?
Ah oui.
This is a completely boned out leg of pork, and the meat's been taken out of it, minced, stuffed back in, and cooked. And that's absolutely fabulous. I'm tempted to have a little taste of that. And it's sort of like, well, it's like a really remarkable peasant sausage, but made out of the whole leg. C'est très bon, eh?
Ah, bon.
Excellent. Right, onwards. Now, here's the thing to confuse me, because all you Sunday Times readers will think that that is a ratatouille, but in fact, it's not a ratatouille. Ça, c'est quoi exactement?
Alors ça, c'est des tranches d'aubergines, c'est-à-dire les aubergines frites, et dedans, c'est une boumiane. C'est différent de la ratatouille.
It's a boumiane, and the reason it's different from a ratatouille, it's cooked for very much longer, and it's all sort of seized up and much more sort of caramelized. It's absolutely fabulous. All you need to go with a dish like that is something else for which France is very famous, the wine of popes, Chateauneuf du Pape. And I think we should have a little drink of this, which I shall pour. Absolutely amazing stuff. Merci beaucoup. À la prochaine. You can't come to Provence without taking a slurp of the local wine, Ventoux, Rhône or Vacqueyras. It's great, it's fruity and strong, and unlike Burgundy, it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Let's try some.
I'm surrounded by some of the most amazing people here, the greatest experts on the wine of the Côte d'Or you'll ever get in around one barrel. And I thought that the important thing is not for me to tell you what I think about wine, ask the people who really know. For example here, this is Monsieur Escoffier. It's a great name, we all know about the name Escoffier, who is responsible for the Côte de Ventoux. And I'm going to try to ask him, we're all going to taste a little drop, let's have a glass, and he's going to tell us what is special about Ventoux. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a ce vin de Ventoux qui est si bon, quoi?
Ce vin de Ventoux est un vin très fruité,
moins
alcoolisé que nos voisins les Côtes-du-Rhône, mais la carte du fruit a été jouée. C'est un vin qui se boit à longueur de tout le repas.
Très bien. It's a very light, fresh, fruity wine. Should be drunk anytime you want, either as a glass of wine with a snack or with a meal, and you drink it within a year or two. So always buy a young one. It's a very good little wine. Oh, and the santé. You won't find people giggling and wandering legless hysterically around the place at this kind of tasting. This is very, very serious indeed. The only people who'll be grinning will be the film crew afterwards when we all get a glass for having worked so well. But it is a very important thing. And listen, they swill it round their mouths. They're getting all the flavour out of it. They're not going to spit it on the floor because it's too precious to throw away. Now we're going to go on to the Gigondas. This is a much more important wine, isn't it?
Plutôt l'autre, la 85, si vous voulez. Hein?
85.
Gigondas 85 pour...
Voilà.
Pourquoi le 85?
Effectivement, parce que...
On vient de parler du 85.
Et c'est également une bonne année.
C'est une très bonne année, et un Gigondas qui est très corsé, tannique, qui a besoin de vieillir très longtemps.
C'est-à-dire longtemps.
C'est un vin certainement qui sera excellent dans 10 ans.
And there's another one, straight from the horse's mouth. I mean, Monsieur Amadieu is known throughout Great Britain. Every restaurateur knows him, every wine merchant knows him. And when he says that his 1985 Gigondas is going to be really superb in 10 years' time, it's well worth buying it now, while it's still relatively inexpensive, laying it down, having a really good party in when? 1895. Boom. Il faut le
1895?
Now, you see, we started off very seriously in this wine tasting, and, you know, I tell you that each one of these, and look at this lovely mousse on it, by the way, this is over 100 years old, this barrel, but there are over 4,000 bottles in that. That's enough to keep me going, with the help of my director, for about a fortnight, I should think, and so I'm starting to muddle up the dates. What I'm saying is, in 1995, the Gigondas of Monsieur Amadis will be absolutely superb. Superb. It's not that we've been drinking a lot this morning, but we've been here for 3 weeks, you see, and it's kind of built up quite a bit.
This river, the River Dordogne, has, like a soup kettle, been simmering since the dawn of man, with the rich mélange of language, culture and food. From the Neolithic caves to the kitchen of fine restaurants, France's reputation of culinary excellence has been lovingly tended. The Dordogne was the birthplace of man and culture, and that was a very good commentary.
Okay, Stuart?
Yeah, Keith, we'll edit out the fluffs and mistakes later on, but apart from that, it was brilliant.
Fine, thank you. Isn't that good? I mean, they really work me to death on these programmes, you know. They're so conscious of the licence fee payers' money that they get me to do little extra things. On the excuse of, he said, while you're in the dubbing studio, just do something that makes you feel really at home as if you were in France. Well, a simple snack in a dubbing theatre is not easy to do. I mean, you could do it at home quite easily. All I've done is diced a few little bits of smoked bacon, fried them in olive oil for a few moments, and then I add some blanched fresh broad beans from my mother's garden. Now come in, Clive, here, very close, just so they can see what it is. The little golden, crispy bits of bacon, the lovely bacon fat, and the broad beans. They're absolutely superb. You see, that is what France and French cooking is all about, is simplicity, like a little olive, or like a glass of, you know, rosé. Note the cut crystal. Anyway, I must get on with my commentary now, because it's very important, the commentary. It's like decorating a flat. It's like putting the furniture into it. OK, Stuart, you ready?
Yeah, stand by, Keith, and don't rustle your script.
Script? I don't need a script. I mean, look at these pictures here now. There you have a farmyard, the essence of French provincial life. They retired, they were in BAC, space missiles and stuff like that. They brought this beautiful little farm. There's a guest house, chickens clucking around. It's so relaxed and so pleasant around here, you know, to actually have to come into a hot kitchen and cook is a bit of an imposition upon my time. After all, it is meant to be a BBC mini break for my benefit entirely. Anyway, because I've got to involve you in it all, I'm going to cook you a 3-course meal using typical Perigordin ingredients from the humblest to the most expensive things available. Clive, with no further ado, as we say in the business, come down, let's have a look at what we've got going. I'm going to make a soup out of haricots blancs. We're lucky enough to use fresh ones that come out of there. If you have to use dried ones, leave them soaked in water overnight for 12 hours. Also, we're using the humble potato, the tomato, some rosemary, some speck. That's called speck in England. It's fat bacon. You can get it from delicatessens under the name of speck. A carrot, or lots of carrots actually, some garlic, some parsley, some thyme, and a bay leaf, and lots of water. That's all we need for that. Except, and come up to me, Clive, after you've looked at this very closely, this is called an hachis, and no meal in the Perigord is complete without an hachis. It is finely chopped parsley, garlic, and the fat bacon, the speck. And that's going to go into the soup at its finishing stages to enrich it and flavour it. It bears a comparison with the stuff called pesto in Provence, where they have the same kind of thing made from basilic, garlic, and olive oil to thicken their soups. Enough of the history lessons. Over to here, to our dessert. Now, yes, this is a dessert. The Perigord is famous for its walnuts, hence walnut oil. It's famous for wine vinegar, lettuce you can find anywhere, and goat's cheeses. And we're simply going to toast these goat's cheeses till they're golden brown and serve them with a walnut oil and walnut salad. Okay? But now the extravagant bit, the naughty bit, the bit that I really like, the bit that makes the BBC cringe, which I enjoy very much indeed. I'm going to cook sweetbreads. You know, that's the pancreas of veal with truffles and foie gras. And it's absolutely delicious. Clive, back down to the business and I'll show you. Where are you? Are you starting on the sweetbreads themselves? I've bought those. I've poached them in hot water with salt. I've had them pressed under weights till they're flat like that. And I've taken away all the nasty membrane that would be around them. So they're already ready. Then, at great expense, Billy Cotton, watch out, this cost nearly £4, okay? Those pieces of truffle. This cost £10. It's fresh goose liver, and it's absolutely brilliant. Our other ingredients, slightly over here, please. Bit of butter and a bit of chicken stock. Anyway, that's enough chat. Clive, we'll make our own way to the stove, okay? See you over here. Our very first thing is into this pan of butter, which we've got slightly melted here, is to put our sweetbreads. And we're going to sauté those gently for a few moments. I'll just turn them over so they're well coated. Now, while they're gathering frying speed, if you'd like to come and look at the actual soup that we've been talking about, all those lovely ingredients, which have been simmering away just in water and a little salt for about an hour and a half. I'll stir it round so you can see how it's looking. You see the pieces of potato, the beans, the tomato, all those bits and pieces are in there. And that's really wonderful. And now I'm going to put in the hachis. And that simmers now for perhaps another half an hour before it's ready to eat. And you get all the flavours out of the garlic, the parsley, and those lovely pieces of fat bacon. Here, we're back into business, which is quite pleasing. These are simmering away nicely. I'm going to turn up the gases. As usual, we've borrowed a kitchen. I've never been here before, so I'm bound to fiddle a little bit with what's right and what's wrong. Don't want these to burn, so I turn them over. Okay. They sauté away gently to their slightly golden brown on a very low gas. Keep on those, Clive, because while that's happening, so this meal can end up completely at the right time, I'm going to grill my goat's cheeses. I've already, believe it or not, remembered to light the oven. And you know what an oven is. It's got a grill under here. So they go in and they cook away quite happily. Right. Now, these are the very, very expensive little pieces of truffle, which we're just going to put in to flavour the butter in which the sweetbreads are cooking. Okay. Now, you know, in cooking live, although it's on film, this is actually live and in real time. I sometimes need some help. So if someone could push a bit closer to me my foie gras, thank you very much indeed. All right, you still with me? This is the foie gras, which we're going to just put there for the time being. I'm going to turn these over again. Now, you see, they're virtually cooked, absolutely beautiful. Take out the truffles and put those on the top of that.
Sorry this sequence is going on a bit, but very simply, it's essential to choose a couple of renowned wines, taking very great care not to pay for them yourself, of course. Once you've done that, you finish the sauce. Toss in a glass of white wine, add the chicken stock into the pan with the juices, bubble furiously for 2 or 3 minutes, then whisk in a knob of butter and strain this fine sauce over the sweetbreads. Yum, yum.
And although I say it myself, and I often do say such things, I'm not one for false modesty, but, you know, that is a dish which you'd pay, I don't know, £30 for in any British restaurant if you could cook it properly. For you cheapskates too mean to buy the book, this is the replay, because I've done it about 8 times to the satisfaction of the director, okay, of the walnut oil salad with crispy lettuce and what we call frisé or endive, a little bit like that. Notice how glistening it is. It's all been turned in this lovely walnut oil. Walnuts on the top there. Stay there, Clive. Let's get, for the 3rd time, you don't see any of these things at home, do you? How many times I have to do this for his benefit, behind the camera there. For the 3rd time, out with the toasted goat's cheeses. Now, you can buy these in supermarkets around the country in Britain, or if you're one of those people who have holidays in France, bring them back with you. That's a little bit soft like that.
Thank you.
I hope that's going to be okay for you.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Looks absolutely marvellous, it does.
Michel.
Thank you, thank you.
And me.
Bon appetit, again.
Yes. That is better, isn't it?
À la tech?
Yes, why not? Don't you ever regret having given up this phenomenally amazing life you used to have, jet-setting around the world, managing director, chauffeur-driven cars, telephones,
No.
gold express cards and
No,
things like
you
that?
mustn't exaggerate, you know. I mean, these sort of things don't really exist unless you get a very, very top job. I mean, I had a responsible job. It was very interesting, you know. But whenever you earn money, you got to do something for it. And it came to too much of a stress, you know. I mean, this modern life is so demanding on people. I mean, here I've got my beehives, I do my honey, we've got the vines, we make our own wine. Dorothy cooks all sort of lovely dishes. We receive people, we make jam, we conserve fruits, we do
Pick the mushrooms.
pick mushrooms, you know. It's
Chestnuts.
such a varied life.
One thing I'd really like to know, because it's my programme, I mean, this is your life, but my programme, if that's all right, what do you think of the food?
I
think it's very good.
Pretty marvellous myself. It's a long while since we've eaten in all sorts
Well-
of places, but I think this dish is
Yeah. Well, what I want
It's
to
something
understand,
special.
how can you manage to cook dishes of different parts of the world, you know, and do it so good? I mean, this is top. I mean, if you're a very good Perigord cook, well, how do you get on with, you know, other cooking in other parts of the world? How do you do it?
I love cooking. I think it's like painting, it's like music, it's like motor car driving, it's racing, it's you just get totally immersed in it. I mean, that's what I live for, is cooking.
It's so sad. We're coming to the end of our little gastronomic mini break around France. You know, I've enjoyed it so much, and I was really lucky to meet a great artist, a brilliant Breton chef by the name of Patrick Geoffroy in Morlaix. He gets his inspiration from the sea. He even cooks on stones that come from the beach. And although he's a creative cook, he doesn't torture the pan or our credibility to titillate our palates. I don't have the ability of a United Nations simultaneous translator, but I'm going to do my best over the forthcoming sequence to explain what's going on here. Bear with me. It's very simple. We have some raw salmon here dipped in oil. And then I put it onto a stone from the beach, which I cut actually in one of those places where they make headstones for funerals and things. It's been in the oven for a very long time. It's very hot. I just whack the fish onto it. We can enjoy putting other things on there if we want to, like scallops. Pop it onto a little pancake. A bit of algae, a bit of sea salt, a bit of pepper. Oh, there, that was a funny bit. I'd asked him a leading question, which he refused. He said, "Don't take me for a pigeon, I'm not answering that in front of a camera. Get on with what you're supposed to be doing."
ça se passe très bien. Et...
Look, I'm going to drop the translations for a moment because he's talking rapidly about his roots, why he's at Morlaix. He's in Morlaix, he impresses me as a cook, but he loves the sea, the wind and the shore. I mean, they're his wonderful dish of just scallops, albeit wrapped in Greek pastry, phyllo pastry, for him reflect the textures of his native region. Those little bits on the side there are leeks, the sort of leeks that his grandmother and grandfather used to grow. The apprentices that work for him will jump through hoops of fire to take advantage of his innovative cuisine. Go on, we'll go back to the translation now. But despite this fine food I cook, my roots are simple bits of potato fried with bacon fat. When I go home, I love to smell the seaweed. I love to watch the flowers. I love to touch, to understand that my countryside gives me this ability which I must exploit to cook fine things from my heart.
C'est pour ça que je fais cette cuisine peut-être simple.
Doesn't matter to him whether it's simple or complicated. He just wants to please. He wants to demonstrate where his gut really is. His passion is not false. The salt is his sea salt. The crayfish comes from his sea. These leeks come from his land. He says, this leek I respect. It was loved by the man who grew it. I must respect him and it. It is my duty.
Très malheureux. Il faut respecter tous ces produits parce que c'est ma terre. C'est pour ça que.
It's my land.
C'est pour ça que je suis encore en Bretagne.
That's why I'm here.
Parce que quand je rentre à la maison, je vois les fleurs, je vois les violettes, je vois
I watch the flowers, the violets. I watch everything. I love it all. It is my duty.
Pourquoi je fais cette cuisine.
Okay?
Yep.
Right. Thank goodness for that. That's the end of 7 weeks really hard work, you know. I know it's looked brilliant to you, hacking round France and all the rest of it, but for all of that, you know, it has been the best BBC mini break I've ever had. Wipes an eye, wipes a tear, and it's the end, you know. But listen, seriously, in those 7 weeks, we've been to the high places, the low places, the big places, the grand places, the small places. We have seen that despite the advance of pizza bars and hamburgers and stuff, which is happening throughout Europe after all, French provincial, French country cooking is alive and well. The simple fact of picking, say, just a radish from the ground with a little bit of unsalted butter, or a simple meal of liver, or a simple meal of Perigord, people still take delight in those kind of things. And that's a really good thing. And I hope that these programs have, if nothing else, have shown you that simplicity, shopping, good ingredients is where it's all at. Because that's where my cooking is at. And that's why we made these programs. Forget the highfalutin, stay with the simple. Okay? Bon appetit.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful.